Shortly before arriving at the Endor system to oversee the second Death Star's construction, Darth Vader meditated within his chambers, recalling his meeting with then Chancellor Palpatine at the Opera House where he first heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. He remembered how it was at this exact moment that he decided to learn the secrets of the Sith, convinced that he could do so to save Padme without falling to the dark side. How he had continued to serve the Jedi Order in good faith afterwards, going as far as informing his discovery that Palpatine was the Sith Lord to Mace Windu, only to soon be forced to choose between saving his wife or remaining loyal to an order that seldom considered his needs. The Dark Lord then recalled the moment where he stood outside the fortress on Mustafar, following his slaughter of the Separatist leaders, where he allowed himself to cry as he stared at the blazing lava rivers below, remembering how those tears were not for any of the lives that he had taken, but rather for the loss of his former self, the boy who had dreamed of becoming a Jedi. Reflecting how at the time he viewed those dark acts committed more by the hand of Anakin Skywalker and not Darth Vader, because Padme had fallen in love with the former and not the latter. And despite his fall to the dark side, he still held out hope for a brighter future galaxy ruled by himself and his wife, a galaxy in which they could proudly raise their child in, absent from all of the cruelties and injustices that had caused his own lifelong suffering. This hope still flared within him, even after he believed Padme had betrayed him and his loss at the hands of Obi-Wan, viewing himself still as Anakin, even when he heard the Emperor's shuttle flying overhead to his rescue. Not even the agonizing pain of the medical droids constructing his new mechanical body shattered this spirit. Finally, he remembered the first thing he heard within his newly fitted helmet, his master calling him Lord Vader, a title that he would soon claim as his sole identity. When he asked where Padme was and if she was safe, the answer he received sent him blazing in a tsunami of emotions unlike any other he had experienced. Unable to comprehend how she could have died despite feeling that she was still alive in the Force after his attack, unaware that he had already killed her long ago, the moment he willfully chose to go down his dark path. As this newfound rage that ravaged his soul expressed itself through the rupture of nearby medical droids and equipment, it was only when he finally freed himself from the table that he realized the worst truth of all. Padme's death also meant the death of their unborn child. While shouting no as loudly as the vocabulator allowed out of his mask, underneath it he squeezed his eyes shut to hold back tears that never materialized due to his injuries. The death of his last shard of hope was what ultimately ended all traces of the man once known as Anakin Skywalker. No longer concerned with building the galaxy he wished he had grown up in as a child, Darth Vader instead did the opposite, inflicting the injustices of his past onto all those through the Empire. Only decades later, upon discovering his children, Luke and Leia, indeed did survive, did Vader truly recognize how foolish he was for ever giving up hope in the first place, and for how proud he was of his children, who despite suffering cruelty like he did, chose never to let go of hope themselves.